Dear friends, today I was thinking about the educational changes needed for our schools, especially Catholic schools. I was thinking about globally what the Catholic education is standing for and what should be our focus in the current context. Of course, I think Catholic education has a historical and social context. First of all, stating the church's willingness to work for a humane society and the personal development of human beings is very, very important to note down. Catholic education recognizing education as a common good. It also claiming the universal right to education and schooling for all. For example, the UNESCO has come out long ago with education for all, and that is exactly the Christian education is thinking too. Implicitly, it supports the individual and international institutions who oppose rampant liberalism through their fight for the right to education. For example, in India we have the right to education, and it is globally UN has declared right to education. Education as a right, and we Catholic education stands for that. It also asserting that culture and education cannot be subservient to economic power and its working. It means we cannot consider education as a commodity to be sold or bought. It recalls actually a new humanism as its focal point. We need, in this context, to contribute to education, we need more of research and innovation. That's the first point we must remember. There's a need for research and innovation in our schools. It's worth noticing that the essential purpose of Catholic education was to allow students to fully take on the cultural, social, and religious responsibilities that would be required of them. Our educational institutions are a privileged instrument to gain access to the truths regarding nature and man and God. Therefore, we need to be inspired by values, human values, universal human values, not only in so far as individuals are concerned, but also the entire community and nations. Therefore, the question naturally we must ask ourselves is what our school should be in the context of today. I believe Catholic schools and colleges are educational communities where learning thrives on the integration between research, thinking, and life experience. And what we can look at is how are we going to build up an educational context today? First and foremost, we must respect and love for individual dignity and uniqueness. We Jesuits, in our educational endeavor, we talk about cura personalis, care of each individual, because we believe that God has created each one uniquely. And that uniqueness is important. That has to be asserted because God has invested in every human being's talents and capabilities. Nobody is useless. Everyone is bestowed with God-given talents. And therefore, a wealth of opportunities that are offered to young people in and through our schools and colleges to grow and develop their abilities and talents, both to a balanced focus on their cognitive, affective, social, professional, ethical, and spiritual aspects of life. Therefore, we need to encourage every pupil to develop their talents in a climate of cooperation and solidarity. Therefore, research is important. A rigorous commitment towards truth is important. We need to be aware of human knowledge and its limitations, and therefore we open-mindedly approach life. And therefore, in our schools, we need to cultivate respect for ideas, openness to dialogue, the ability to interact and work together in a spirit of freedom and care, especially in a pluralistic, multicultural, multi-religious societies like India. How are we going to introduce students to do research? Our schools and our universities, our colleges are places where students are introduced to knowledge and scientific research. Today, all the more it is so important because there is religious fundamentalism and ethnic chauvinism is growing on the one hand. On the other, there is organized violence and false ritualistic faith binds the people all over the world. In fact, when we look at today's youth, today's students are crushed between two major forces. One is religious fundamentalism, fanaticism. The other one is too much of liberalism, secularism. In between, the students are crushed. They do not know which way to go, which one is right. Here, our education institutions have the responsibilities to attract younger generations towards knowledge and understanding its achievements and implications. We in our Catholic schools must consider teaching as an instrument for education. If the way students learn is relevant, the same applies to what they learn. Teachers must know how to select the essential elements of cultural heritage that has accumulated over time and how to present them to students. Learning takes place in a loving, mutually respected atmosphere. This is our belief. And therefore, learner-centered education is the one which we offer. In our schools, learning allows our students to develop their creativity, strive for constant learning, and become more open towards others. Learning can also provide the opportunity to open students' hearts and minds to the mysteries around the world. Our school education, therefore, will not be completed if it does not serve local community. Therefore, we must instruct our teachers to provide the students with opportunities to realize the social impact of what they are studying, as well as the development of sense of responsibility and active citizenship for a nation and the world. One of the things we must focus on is the diversity of learners. As Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam says, the quality of our educational institutions is entirely depending on the quality and understanding of their teachers. In our institutions, teachers are called upon to rise up to a major educational challenge, which are the recognition, respect, and enhancement of diversity. Psychological, social, cultural, and religious diversity should not be denied, should be accepted, but rather considered as an opportunity and a gift. Teachers must be open and professionally knowledgeable when they are leading classes, where diversity is recognized, accepted, and appreciated as an educational asset that is beneficial to everyone. And in India, I think it is much needed today. Pluralism of education establishments must be upheld. For example, Catholic schools and colleges and universities fulfill their task in very different cultural and social contexts. Their work is sometimes recognized and appreciated, at other times faced by serious difficulties and hostility. Even in the midst of these, the basic reasons for their educational work do not change. School communities that are inspired with the values of Catholic faith engage in dialogue with all. Our schools, therefore, must be able to think globally and act locally. It is really important for Catholic educational establishment to interact with other non-Catholic institutions in the countries where they are located for the common good. Therefore, I think it is important to look into the training of our personnel, our teachers. The importance of schools' educational tasks explain how crucial training is for our teachers, managers, and the entire staff that has educational responsibilities. Professional competence cannot be compromised. Our teachers our staff should have the ability to create, invent, and manage learning environments that provide plentiful opportunities to our students. They should be able to respect students' multiple intelligences and guide them towards significant and profound learning. Our teachers must be able to accompany their students towards lofty and challenging goals. And therefore, I think our teachers must be mentors. Bob Curry, a Jesuit father, had written a book called Barefoot Counselor. Every teacher, by being a teacher, must have the responsibility to be a mentor to his or her students. Today, we are witnessing an increased hostility towards church and its educational activities by a section of political and religious organizations across the globe. Increased mob attacks are witnessed. Hooliganism against reputed institutions are the order of the day in many countries. We witness a remarkable differentiation, privatization, and even expropriation of knowledge by newly mushroomed corporate educationists on the one hand, and on the other we see reactionary fundamentalist organizations with divisive agenda entering into education arena with the tacit support of the powerful class. We face the challenges to make young people realize the beauty of faith in Jesus Christ and of religious freedom in a multi-religious context. We face another serious challenge of being Catholic educators of credible witnesses. The young people we are educating today will become the leaders after a decade or two. What will religion's contribution to be educating younger generations to peace, development, fraternity in the universal human community? How are we going to educate them to faith and in faith? How will we establish the preliminary condition to accept this gift, to educate them to gratitude, to a sense of awe, to asking themselves questions, to develop a sense of justice and consistency? How will we educate them to prayer? These are the challenges. Education is not just knowledge, but also an experience. It links together knowledge and action. It works to achieve unity among different forms of knowledge and pursues consistency. It encompasses the affective and emotional domains and is also endowed with the ethical dimension, knowing how to do things and what we want to do, daring the change society and the world, and serving the community. And therefore, education is based on participation, shared intelligence, and intelligence of interdependence. Dialogue, self-giving, example, cooperation, and reciprocity are also equally important elements in our schools. Therefore, my dear friends, nowadays a lot of attention has been devoted to verifying the outcomes of students' learning activities. For us, the learning outcomes is identified in 5 C's, starting with C. Our education must make our students competent, persons of conscience, persons of competence, persons of compassion, persons of commitment, and persons of character. There are 5 C's: conscience, competence, compassion, commitment, and character. Each person's formation takes place within a process that is implemented over many years by several educators, starting with parents. Therefore, Catholic education has a responsibility to change, to come forward with new ideas, innovative and creative ideas, serious studies, research, and proper analysis, etc. Time has come for us to contribute to the society in a much, much bigger way. And we need to network with each other, collaborate with so many, so that we can build up a better world. That's our call today. Thank you very much, and God bless all of you.